to productivity, where we can uncover the incredible ways gaming can enhance our lives today. Today, we welcome Karen Mendoza, a seasoned chief business development officer. But I heard there's a new position she's going to let us know soon. She has an extensive experience in the gaming industry. She spent over a decade at Nintendo. That is correct. The Nintendo. So tune in as we delve into Karen's journey and discover how to use gaming to improve our skills, make meaningful connections, and reach our goals. Karen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Nico. So happy to be here with you.
And you did mention earlier that you have a new position. So the information that I have clearly is old news. So please let us know what you do now.
Yeah, right on. I've for the past year, I've been working at D-Box Technologies, and
Mm,
they are based in Montreal, Canada. But
mhm.
I am still based in San Francisco, California. That's my home base, but I travel to Montreal often. And what D-Box Technologies, what they do is they do high fidelity haptics and immersive technology in
Ooh.
entertainment, in all forms of entertainment, such as movie theaters. You
Mhm.
might have experienced some D-Box motion activated cinema seats in
Yep, yep.
a few theaters out there. We work a lot with Cinemarks, Cineplex, and all sorts of different um, theater exhibitors. And then we also do sim racing, so racing simulators. So we work a lot with the
Ooh.
F1 and NASCAR and all sorts of fun motorsports companies to promote our hyper realistic immersive action using our haptic technology. And then now we're also getting into gaming. And at CES in Las
Mhm.
Vegas last month, we were just there to unveil our new haptic gaming chair that we're in development with Cooler Master. So some exciting things for me happening at D-Box for the past year. But before that, I was working at Legendary Shift, which is the parent company of Game Truck and
Mhm.
Bravus Esports. And then, as you mentioned in my intro, I spent 15 years, so a decade and a half, at Nintendo of America, doing all sorts of different cool roles and positions, mostly on the sales and marketing side of Nintendo.
Wow, that's actually so intriguing. So this is literally the behind the scenes of what gaming comes, because supposedly Nintendo started off as a very low key and humble business, but in order to get to where it is now, as well as any liable company, you have to have people marketing it, you have to have people pushing for sales. And so I'm glad that you came in order to give us that kind of credible feedback regarding how that happens. But before we do so, I want to know, are you a gamer? Do you play games? And if
I
not, what
do.
is your experience?
Yeah, I definitely play games. I'm more of a casual gamer. I will,
Same.
although I don't work at Nintendo anymore, I will always be a Nintendo fan. And
Okay.
in fact, my very first um, Nintendo, I'm sorry, my very first video game product.
Mhm.
For a lot of people, it was the NES. For me, it was the
Wow.
Nintendo Game and Watch. I don't know if you're familiar with the Game and Watch. It's the
Mhm,
portable one. They actually kind of re-released it in a
mhm.
limited edition, uh, classics version,
Yep.
uh, and because my family immigrated from the Philippines to the US. And I came here when I was 6 years old. So, true American dream story for my family. And when I got here, in the early 80s, definitely surrounded by all very cool things at Toys R Us and things, just
Yeah.
electronics were all the rage. And so the two my two favorite things that I got as a child was my Mickey Mouse watch and this Game and Watch from Nintendo. And so, to have been able to work there in my career journey was kind of a dream come true.
Wow.
Because I definitely love the product. But sorry for the long winded answer. But yeah,
No,
I
no,
still
go
play
for it.
games today. My favorite all time timeless classic is
Mhm.
Mario Kart. I play with my
Okay.
family. I've got two kids and a husband, and we always play Mario Kart when we've got family parties. And then my second favorite is another Mario game, which is Mario Tennis, because I'm a big tennis
Ooh.
fan,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
just
yeah.
love all the over the top action of all the
Yes.
Mario sports, so that's what I play. And I watch a lot. I watch a lot of on Twitch and YouTube.
Mhm.
Uh, just because I want to stay in touch with the business, the industry, and
Right, right, right.
I've been watching a lot of just esports, like League of Legends. The World Championships took
Woo,
place
woo.
here
Love that.
here in San Francisco at the Chase Center, and just the whole production of it all was I mean, it's amazing. I'm
Yes.
hoping that with my influence at in cinemas and theaters, that we can kind of mesh, gaming events like that, like the
Mhm,
World
mhm.
Championships, into movie
Ooh.
theaters, and that's kind of the
Ooh.
overall goal here in what we're trying to do.
Oh, you definitely got a fan in that. That sounds
Yeah,
amazing. What? Especially if there's like a ace or a super super play and the seats rumble and whatnot. Oh my goodness. But I did think to ask, since you mentioned that Mario Kart is one of your favorite all-time classics, I have to know, who's your go-to Mario Kart character?
I like Yoshi. Yoshi
Oh, okay.
is my go-to. But I also, because I forgot to my ranking up there in one of my favorite Nintendo titles is Splatoon. I don't know if you're familiar with
Ooh.
Splatoon,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of like their homage to a first-person shooter, but it's like
Mhm.
with shooting ink.
PG. Yeah.
And so they have these inkling characters that have the cutest and coolest gear
Mhm,
that they
mhm.
have, and I like to play that on Mario Kart as well. But Rainbow Road is my classic favorite
Map?
track to
Okay.
play on. It's hard, but
Uh,
if you can
it
stay on,
yeah, I can't do too well on there, I fall off way too
always
often.
falling off, right?
I usually beat most of my friends, but if we play that one, it's, anybody can beat me because it's
It's
so tough.
tough. Yeah.
And and now I did wanna also ask, since you did mention, that your company is actually possibly into getting persuaded into doing things of that nature. Would it be just in regards to like League of Legends or World Championships, or would it be to a vast majority of esports?
All things. I mean, anything and everything. I mean, I think, the state of the union when it comes to movie theaters, I mean,
Hmm.
we're just wrapping up, or we just wrapped up the calendar year 2022
Hmm.
with some great blockbuster films that reached $1 billion in global box office sales. Top Gun being one of them,
Yep.
right? And Avatar: Way of Water
Ooh,
just
ooh.
reached over $2 billion now, and then Jurassic Dominion. And so, even with that, I think there is this overarching um, trend that movie theater owners, are always looking for other forms of entertainment to bring families and moviegoers to entertain them in these large multiplexes. So we've been at D-Box, we've been, working and talking with them about bringing gaming or even racing, right? Sim racing
Hmm.
to their
Hmm.
lobbies, arcades, or the auditoriums with the large screens, because these are all forms of entertainment that people really want to get into and love to get into. And I think it's gonna happen. I mean, last night I just went to. Not that I'm a big BTS fan, but I was definitely there at the cinemas last night
Yeah.
watching the BTS be live streamed from Busan, and it was a concert, right?
Hmm.
So all these alternative forms of programming for the movie theater auditoriums are all great. Uh, Forms of entertainment, like I said. Anime is another one, gaming, concerts. music festivals, whatever else that people might want to get into the to gather in a intimate setting.
Now, I do have to say, even though I love gaming, I gotta put a pause asterisk there because I did see the One Piece film Red. Oh my goodness! And I saw One Piece, the one before. I forgot the name. It slipped my mind. In theaters, I never honestly would have thought that I would have seen anime in theaters, let alone in like really. I saw it really, really, really high quality, and I was like, oh my goodness. And the sub, not the
There you
dub.
go.
I'm not trashing the dub, but I'm just saying, I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing, especially the fight scenes where you can feel the intensity of the game, of the
Right.
anime, and it makes me think if that were to happen with large action oriented games like League of Legends, maybe even either a Call of Duty tournament or whatever other game event. Because I know for a fact the gaming is becoming a super large organization worldwide, globally, just like sports.
Sure.
You have different sports from soccer, football, and basketball. And when large events like the World Championship, the playoffs, etc., are going on, a lot of people, watch online or at home. But there's other people like me. I would love for the opportunity to go to a theater and just mingle with other
That's
people as if we're literally cheering on the team, whether or
totally.
not that's my team or not. It's irrelevant. I just want to go and have
It's
fun.
about the community experience, right? And it's about that fan engagement. And you're absolutely right, Nico. There's probably hundreds or thousands of people that would do that instead of watching it just from their room or from their own house. Why not go to your local theater and mix and mingle with other like-minded people who share the same hobbies or want to be a fan or a spectator for that kind of an event. So that's I think we're going to try to do something with the movie theaters and gaming, kind of that crossover effect. Um, and I think that you'll start to see more and more movie theaters kind of mix in different forms of uh, of programming other than blockbuster films from Hollywood. You know.
Now, when you'd mentioned haptic, the first thing that came to mind was Ready Player One. It just made me think
Yep.
of like a haptic suit, VR going to the extreme next level. I don't know.
Right.
I'm ignorant, so fill me in. Is that something that's
That's right.
also coming down the pipeline, or is that just strictly for movie entertainment purposes only?
There's some realism in that whole storyline that Ready Player One showed us. I think we're still a ways out. I mean,
Hmm.
because right now, even the VR headsets that are in the market, they're still quite heavy and bulky
Yeah.
on the face. They've got to get lighter. I mean, as light as like sunglasses or as natural to wear.
Hmm.
But I think we're going to get there. I mean, I'm waiting to see what Apple is going to reveal in their,
Ooh.
their next headset. I want to see what development that Google has made to their Google Glass. Certainly, Meta has made a name, has done a
Yep.
whole rebranding of the company to get ready for the metaverse. But so haptics, if I can just kind of educate the audience
Oh, please do. Please do.
on so we probably the most basic form of haptics of what we know today in mass market is
Hmm.
like what we see on our phones, right? In the settings where it vibrates to
Mm.
remind us
Hmm.
to
Hmm. Hmm.
either stand up or your timer's up. Yeah, that is a form of haptics. That's one dimension, vibration.
Hmm.
But at D-Box, we do high fidelity haptics. What that means is we not only do we do vibration
Hmm.
technology, but we also can do motion and textures and vibration. So if you
Interesting.
add all of those three things, motion, texture, and vibration, you can create all sorts of very cool, nuance, and subtle um, forms of almost altered perceptions of your current state. Um, without taking any psychedelics, I guess I should say, right? It's really, when we do a haptic, when we encode a movie, let's say Top Gun Maverick,
Right.
with haptics technology, you take our haptic designers at
Mhm.
D-Box, and we have almost 20 haptic designers at D-Box, our company. And what they do is they take a 2 hour film reel directly from like Paramount Pictures, from the
Mhm. Mhm.
studios, and they look at every frame, and not every frame is going to have emotion, right? I mean, if
Right.
two
Right.
people are just having a dialogue, yeah, there's probably not going to be any action or any vibration that's needed. But when now you're doing the dogfight scene in Top Gun, and
Mhm.
now you've got this, jet fighting action, well, then yeah, you can simulate that with the motion, with the movement and the programming of our actuators
Mhm.
to move it, and then the texture, that how we define the texture is, if you're driving over cement, it's going to be a different feeling than if you're driving over grass, right?
Right.
One is more
Yeah.
gravelly, grindy,
Uh-huh.
and the other is more soft. And with the texture technology that we can program into our haptic design, you'll be able to feel that without having grass or gravel there. So
Whoa.
again, it's this altered, sort of hyper realistic but altered perception, almost tricking the mind. But while your eyes see the visuals on screen and your ears hear the spatial audio or whatever audio technology is happening in the auditorium, we're just basically adding now the effect of using your body as the vehicle to add
Mhm.
more sensations to be immersed into the action of the film or the game or the race, if you were doing an F1 race or something.
Whoa, you
So,
said or the game?
or the game, yeah, because we can do this with games. That's what we're developing right now. We're working with Ubisoft to
What?
encode Assassin's Creed Valhalla, right? It's
What?
Yes, yes. And so you can take, and this is what, like I said, we
Whoa.
unveiled this at CES, the Consumer
Mhm.
Electronics Show in Las Vegas last month. And we had people, journalists, media, sit down in our haptic gaming chair that we developed with Cooler Master. We had them play through Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and if you're riding a horse, you can feel like you're riding a horse. If you're in
What?
a boat, you can feel like you're actually floating on the stream or the river in a boat. If you are taking a point of view of the bird's flight, because there's a bird flight in the game, you
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
actually feel the floating effect of and the flying effect of a bird. And that's what high fidelity haptics can do, and only D-Box can do now. For most gamers, the haptics that they mostly experience is through kind of the rumble of the controller,
Mhm.
right? The
Mhm.
dual in PlayStation 5, that is a form of haptics. I
Right.
would call that kind of the basic form of haptics.
Right, 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 right.
But now, if you add that rumble to the controller in now a seated environment, like with our haptic gaming chair, or even if we had a haptic headset,
Right.
now you're talking about more immersive experiences, very close to like the Ready Player One scenario eventually, because I do think that in our space, in this ecosystem of high fidelity haptics, there will be a vest, there will be gloves, there
Right.
will be jetpacks or whatever we can think up of, just to feel like you are there in the game, in the action, without actually being there you know so it's
But is
exciting.
it is it currently a headset that's being used to get immersed, or what is the tool to get
Well,
there?
the tool to get there, there's a couple of different devices. There's a couple of different peripherals.
Hmm.
Right now, like I said, I think the VR headset technology still needs to get better in
Hmm.
terms of the weight on the face or the head. It's
Yep, yep,
still
yep.
quite a heavy peripheral, but I do see them improving that, getting thinner and thinner. Um, right now, in our current, like what you can buy today,
Hmm.
it's just the basic, maybe a curved monitor can give you kind of that feeling of immersion. um, the monitor won't move,
Oh, so it's
because
all in beta?
it's it's all in beta,
Oh,
I guess, for
oh,
now.
you made it sound so good.
Oh, but there are some, our haptic gaming chair, the
Hmm.
Cooler Master Motion One chair, will be available next month for purchase.
Ooh.
And it's gonna retail for $2,300 USD, and it's gonna have, we already have in our D box Connect, which is our library of movies, TV shows, games, music. We have over 2,500 pieces of content that we've already encoded with a haptic track. So
Wow.
you can really enjoy it, playing games, racing. We have Forza Horizon game on there. We've got F122. We got a lot of racing games, of course, a lot
Hmm.
of flight sim games as well, and then a lot of movies and TV series on there. Right now, we're, I think, encoding Jack Ryan. We've encoded the Lord of the Rings Amazon Prime series. So we've got some more good things happening, good content in our haptic library.
Whoa. Yeah, oh my goodness. That
Did
is
I blow your mind, Nico? I don't know if I.
wow. That is so intriguing. I never would have thought that within the next couple of years after seeing Ready Player One, that
Yeah,
it would be so soon. Like that is like so mind blowing to even think and imagine, because I can already think when I saw movies in IMAX 3D, as
yeah,
well as when my family went on vacation to Disney one year. They had a Shrek VR where they had moving chairs. They
right,
would rumble. You would put a headset on. You would see it, not a headset, excuse me. You would in 3D, but it would
right,
pop out, and like when the dragon would fire up, it would get hot,
totally.
and then when like something splashed on the, like the seats had like
Mhm.
this wet, and you would
Water
just get
effect,
sprayed
yes,
on, and it's like that was like 15 years ago, and it's like they had mechanical systems in place, and now it sounds
the
like the systems are
consumer
more,
version.
yeah, it's like technological, where your body is feeling these sensations instantly, and it's made that way, it's coded that way.
That's
From
right,
gaming, where a lot of people are here are gonna be thrilled for gaming, to
for sure.
movies, to anime, like
Mhm.
what is right up my alley, like oh snap, I'm excited for it, like oh.
Heck yeah. I mean, and we've done at DBox, we've done a few different research studies to kind of not just I mean, to back up back it up with science, right? That
Mhm, mhm.
haptics can actually, with our haptic technology, we can reduce motion sickness in people, because I've heard that from family and friends. They're like, Karen, I can't sit in the D box motion seats because I have vertigo or I get dizzy. Well, there's something about if your feet are planted on
Mhm.
the floor when you're sitting in a motion act, it kind of calms you down. But
Hmm.
if you do it the right way, if we program it and design haptics the right way, it will reduce the motion sickness. And for brands and for advertisers and marketers like me,
Mhm.
the um, the memory retention from a fully immersive experience is stronger. You remember it more. Like, just like you remembered your Shrek experience from the 4D experience 15 years ago, and you still
Yep.
remember, oh man, the sights, the sound, the water effect.
Yes.
It's true. It sticks with you, instead of just seeing it or hearing it. Now you feel it. Well, that
Yeah.
feeling lasts a while, right? So I think there's also I'm very always curious and intrigued about the business side of gaming and
Hmm.
entertainment. And to me, for brands, a brand extension or to recall, well, what is that memorable brand? Well, I think it's going to go haptics and immersive, so that you can recall, okay, what was that thing that I really liked, that I really enjoyed, that really felt good? Oh yeah, it was that Coca-Cola or that Mercedes-Benz commercial that I saw. So that's what we're hoping to do at D-Box, is to just, let everybody know that haptics is this technology that is available to all, and it doesn't have to just be in a theme park anymore,
Hmm.
or even in a movie theater. You can actually have this at home, eventually. So
So is it gonna start rolling out first in movie theaters and then transition to at home, or is it gonna be released to both?
both, but it's at a higher price point, right? Like I said, the gaming chair starts at 2,300
Hmm.
um, dollars. We have, at D-Box, we also sell home theater seats. So if for those
Mm.
multimillionaires in your viewing audience who have um, in-home movie theaters in their house, or their super yachts, or their
Hmm.
private jets or whatnot, we usually sell these home theater seats that we can install for them. And they usually buy either 4 or 6 or 8. It's never just one seat,
Right,
right?
right,
They
right.
usually like to have a whole room full.
Hmm.
And so we sell that, and that usually starts about 10,000 per seat.
Hmm.
And then with racing simulators, we sell those as well, the motion kits in these racing simulators. And a racing simulator, fully assembled and fully turnkey, with all the steering wheel, the brake pedals, the chassis, and the motion system, it can start anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000, all the way up to 50,000 if you want the top of the line. If you want it to look like a real Mercedes Benz or a Porsche or McLaren, whatever bells and whistles you want, we can create that, or we have partners to create the best racing simulator for you.
And those are the ones that you have like the chair that you turn it and it turns with you.
That's right. That's right. It's usually
Oh.
what the F1 pro drivers practice on if they don't, want to go on the track,
Uh-huh.
on the real track. They practice, because again, our motion cueing in D box, we try to design it to be the exact same or hyper realistic motion
Mhm.
cueing for what the F1 driver or NASCAR pro driver will feel on the track. So we work with a lot of the partners in F1 and NASCAR to make sure that we have all the latest tracks, race tracks that they're developing for, so that we know when the turns are going to happen, and we can program that motion cueing for those tracks.
And these kind of practices, it's not just a mental practice, but it pretty much like it takes them an additional actual almost real life, like you mentioned, hyper realistic practice, because they don't physically have to go out there and
That's right.
potentially get injured,
That's
potentially
right.
waste gas and whatnot, but they can just either be in the comfort of their home, or if they have it in a studio or with their team, they can just go there instead and practice mentally, get ready. And so that way, when they actually have to physically do it, they already have the mental capacity and they already know what to do physically. They just
You
don't
got
have to keep doing the same physical activity over and over again. Just do the hyper realistic one in order to get them ready.
That's right. That's exactly what they do to practice, to get ready. Yeah, it's the mental preparation, but it's
Hmm.
also sort of the anticipation of memorizing the track, right?
Mm.
And anticipating those turns,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so the more you practice in a virtual race, and you memorize, okay, here, I am at French Grand Prix, and I know that there's going to be this blue lane right here. So here's
Hmm.
my strategy to make sure I'm not going to spin out or do a donut there. So it really is one of the best forms of practice for these pro drivers, to really get. I mean, it's like, I mean, they're just, they're athletes, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
a NBA player, NFL player, FIFA player.
Hmm.
So the more repetition in a virtual setting, the better for them when they take on the real life racetrack, and they can kind of, you know, put their strategies to action. And plus, there's a cost and affordability, because to rent out a racetrack is
Right.
something like 25,000, 50,000 a day, you know. So you can just buy a racing simulator for 25,000 and practice all you want, you know.
Wow, and it actually makes it sound similar to what we were speaking earlier about Mario Kart, pretty much, because
Yeah,
I'm not too good at Rainbow Road, but somebody like you who already has everything memorized, you already know the kind of turns you need to be accustomed for, so that way when it's time to actually play, somebody like me who never memorizes it is it's I lose, boom. But somebody that takes the time, especially in the F1 setting where they're practicing for a hyper realistic map for an actual race that's going to occur, they can actually mentally prepare themselves continuously. So when it actually happens in real life, they already know, okay, the strategy that me and the coach came up with, me and the team came up with, plus the hours that I practice at home or wherever I did the hyper realistic training. And now to actually do it, now my body, my mind, my soul, everything already knows what I'm supposed to do and how
that's
I'm
right.
supposed to do it, when I'm supposed to do it. And then it's just going out there and performing it.
You got it. You got it. That's it. Yeah. And so we just applied it to, you know, kind of the F1, NASCAR, race car, motorsports
Mhm.
way. It can be applied to Call of Duty, right? First person shooter game,
Mhm.
where, okay, so the haptics, what's the haptic application there? Well, you know, we might start to, let's say if there's an enemy coming on your left side, and it's your blind spot, you might feel a tingle on the right side of your chair, you know, to kind of say, hey, you know, there's an enemy approaching you from your left side behind, and so be prepared to. So it's not only listening for it, looking at the visual cues on screen or in your headset, VR headset or whatever. It's now also starting to feel and anticipate kind of your next move.
Mm.
So you know, it's, we're still, you know, and we would love to have more sort of gamers help us beta test and you know, look for ways to bring haptics to other forms of gaming or other genres, not just, you know, vehicle type or flight sims and racing sims, but first person shooters. Where are those actions, those motion cues going to come from, you know? So um, you know, I'm not a Call of Duty player, but I watch a lot of it, and I mean, it's just, it's it's uh, it's interesting how they just get so natural at, like, you know, how quick, you know, quick they can be with the action to win in that game. So
So it's actually pretty funny that you say that. I didn't even think about how to spot an enemy like that on some like
right,
echolocation kind of concept. I actually went last year to DreamHack where they had a Counter Strike Global
right,
Offensive, which is a first person shooter. It doesn't have as many of the features that Call of Duty has in terms of like all this care packages and stuff like that. It's just a basic, first person shooter, smoke screen,
yeah,
grenade, flashbang, and whatnot. And so to see them and to see the professionals use their headphones that are very sensitive headphones and to know that they're actually using it to hear like, okay, where are they stepping
right,
from?
right.
I can hear them. They're over here, or he's over here past this wall because he's not crouching. And to even think if there was another additional layer added on top of not just hearing them and seeing them, but now I could feel it. Like every time I'm moving over here, it's like it's get the sensation in the chair is like leaning
Right,
this way.
right.
I don't know that that's
It's
just so in like
Yeah, I mean, and one of the coolest response or feedback that we got from journalists at CES when they were demoing Assassin's Creed
mhm,
was in the game we have this like we design we put the haptic design on the heartbeat. So if you're low on health, your heart will start to like you can feel your heartbeat and you can and so it's
oh
like again motion cueing you to say you better
yeah,
find
yeah,
food, you
yeah.
better find something to increase your health because you are low on health points.
Oh,
Like something like that, I think for for a gamer who maybe they are trying to be the next big esports athlete or win an esports
mhm,
competition. Now we all, I know that in an esports competition, you can't necessarily bring all the gear with you. Like, I don't know if they're going to allow you to bring your haptic gaming chair or, what your favorite devices, but just like in the F1 race where you may have now developed a sixth sense of like
right, right,
knowing and anticipating your enemy's strategies and have some proactive moves against that. I think that is the future that we're trying to build and that's the
right.
type of initiative that we're trying to build for our gaming audience, our esports audience at D-Box.
Wow, that is so amazing. Like, oh my goodness. Uh, It's always amazing whenever technology and human innovation and imagination and hard work, hard efforts, not just on the engineers who created it, crafted it, tested it, but also, like I said earlier, Nintendo wouldn't be Nintendo unless people knew what it
Right.
was, knew the kind of games it was, and that takes hard work, marketing, sales, letting people know and to work at Nintendo for 15 years and to be a part of your dream job from having the Game and Watch
Yeah.
as a kid to then actually work for the company and seeing the ups and downs that it brings, the behind the scenes, the nitty and gritty, to then now working at another revolutionary company trying to disrupt the whole industry as a whole. Because I can see so far ahead about how this could look, if all the pieces are aligned. So that's why I'm all giddy and happy because I'm just like, oh my goodness, that is so
I know, Nico. I
amazing.
got
Like,
this
what?
year, 2023 is going to be super fun for the gamers in movie theaters. You know why? Because April 7th, we've got Super Mario Brothers coming out to theaters. I don't know if you've seen the trailers. Super Mario Brothers,
Ah,
April 7th,
yeah.
and that's D-Box. That's a D-Box film as well, so you should watch it in a D-Box
Ooh, ooh,
movie
ooh.
seat. And then we also have in May Fast 10 and
Mhm.
Fast and the Furious, that franchise was actually one of the original films that D-Box, that's how we got into theaters, was because of the Fast and Furious movies. So Fast
What?
10 coming out in May in theaters is one of our like kind of memorable moments for D-Box. And so that one
Wow.
definitely will be D-Box encoded. And then later in the summer, sometime in August, Sony Pictures is releasing Gran Turismo, the movie. So again, great year for gaming in movies, and that's why kind of we started our conversation with movie theaters and gaming kind of merging and colliding the worlds together. And there's definitely this is the year to bring them um, smack dab in the middle and right into the movie theaters near you.
What? Wait, is that Gran Turismo the movie based off of the game?
Yes. Yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's another there's another it's not really a game, but it's an F1. So Brad Pitt and Apple and Apple are working together to bring an F1 movie. I think that's coming out this year. It may come out next year. But again, these are all great D-Box films that I guarantee you we will encode it with haptics. And so I encourage all of your your fans and your viewing audience to go out there and see it in D-Box, and just keep tuned in to what D-Box is gonna bring to the masses, because Ready Player One is here or is
Yeah,
coming soon.
it's on the
Is on the
way.
way. It's in real life now. It's not just in the movies. So
Wow. Well, oh my goodness. I don't want to keep you
I,
long. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for literally blowing my mind. I had no idea that technology was so advanced. I definitely got to do that research regarding the CES to see what ended up happening. What were the takes that the journalists had? If you could just let individuals know where they can find you, where they can find more of the information regarding DBOC, as well as anybody that is interested in getting any of those chairs or systems, let them know where they can find that information.
Absolutely. You can, your audience can find me on LinkedIn. Look up Karen Mendoza and look up the keywords Nintendo or D-Box. I should pop up there. And then if you want to learn more about D-Box, you can find it. You can find our website, d-box.com. And you can see all of our great information there. And then as for the gaming chair that we're coming out with, definitely follow dbox.com or look at my LinkedIn, because I usually post everything that is out and available for people to buy or consume, whether it's Nintendo, D-Box, esports, gaming. And my LinkedIn is, I try to keep it as up to date as possible. So
Well, thank you so much for another exciting episode, um, for bringing us a lot of gaming, movie theaters, futuristic technology, understanding that there's a new potential sixth sense. It's truly an inspiration to hear about new innovative technologies, about your journey from, having a game to then working for the game, and this being Nintendo, to then now bringing a new age of gaming, a new age of experience, of sensation, of literally just a new future, I would say, because this is going to be big. If all goes well, knock on wood, hopefully it does. So thank you once again for providing this treasure trove and wealth of knowledge. If you guys like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to make sure to have the updated links that she had mentioned in the bio. Other than that, thank you so much once again, Karen, and take care and have a great
thank
rest
you,
of your night.
Nico. Had fun.